Tracy and her cousin, Kathy, were in the back seat. Everyone was asleep except my wife. Out of a deep sleep, suddenly I jolted upward. My wife couldn't figure out what was wrong. I am much taller than she. I looked over the hood of the car, and I could see over the car in front of me that there was a driver who was coming straight at the car in front of me, and that there was about to be a head-on collision. At that instant, I grabbed the wheel of my car, where my wife was driving, and pulled us over onto the shoulder. She couldn't see this coming because she's not tall enough to see that high. The car in front of me swerved, and that car would have come right at us. And instead of doing that, it passed right by us, and it looked to me like the driver had fallen asleep. And I laid on the horn, and he jolted awake and pulled over to the other side. Now, the question I have is, out of a deep sleep when I was really fatigued after driving for 5 or 6 hours, what was that? What was that forced me awake to look, to grab the wheel, all in a split second? Had that not occurred, who knows what the consequences were. And yet I have such a strong intuitive sense that if I hadn't awakened at that moment and hadn't done that, that didn't fit in with the divine perfection that this universe is. I still had many books to write. I still had children that were unborn yet to arrive and show up here. I had unfinished business, and so did my wife, and so did those 2 little children in the backseat of the car, who at that time were 7 or 8 or 9 years of age. And so I ask you, what was that? The universe is on purpose. In the instant that you were conceived and brought into the world of form, everything that's to happen to your form was already handled. Such an entire fabulous mystery. Every wrinkle that you see appearing on your body, every hair that you see falling out, everything that you see going on in your body, the aging process, all of it, as you watch it with your mind, you know that in that little drop it was all handled for you. If you can see that that's a fabulous mystery, why isn't your own death in there as well? And if it is, then why not relax and surrender and be at peace with it and trust that inner guidance that might awaken you from a deep sleep to just check something out. There's not a person listening to this tape anywhere in the world who hasn't had a similar experience that they can recount of a time when they saved their life or the life of someone else, or some strange little thing implored them to do something that they normally wouldn't do, and what the consequences of that were. Trust in that. As you begin to trust in it and befriend it, you'll discover that you can create all kinds of fabulous miracles with that intuition. Or you can ignore it and just say, well, it was just a lucky hunch. I know better. What is it that caused me to awaken in the midst of a deep sleep and eliminate the possibility of a head-on collision on a 2-lane highway someplace in Georgia or Alabama or Florida? And I think about Wordsworth, one of my favorite poets, and this is what he said about it, because the scientists can't explain it, but the poets can always just sort of write about it and understand it. He said it this way. He said, "And I have felt a sense sublime of something far more deeply interfused, whose dwelling is the light of setting suns, and the round ocean, and the living air, and the blue sky, and in the mind of man, a motion and a spirit that impels all thinking things, all objects of all thought, and rolls through all things. Befriend it. Call it what you want. That's what it looks like." As you develop your mindset for miracles, your real magic mindset, keep in mind that there's a difference between wishing and hoping and wanting and intention. Your intention creates your reality. Intention is a different concept. Your intention is the taking of hopes and fantasies and applying them into an action mode. You experience with intention is a way of creating miracles is probably unfamiliar to you, especially if you've been raised on desires and wishes and hopes and fantasies as all the things that are in your invisible self. That's where your thoughts are. That's where your minds are. What I want to do is help you to shift that. Desires, you see, are stagnant. They don't set energy into motion. They don't create for you. Intention is the energy of the soul, and it comes into contact with your physical reality. It creates your reality. What's interesting is that everything that you see around you, everything you associate with, all the ways that you function in your life, all your relationships, all the money that you've made in your life, the shape of your physical body, virtually everything about the physical you is really nothing more than a result of your intentions or how your thoughts became energized into action. Now, this is really a crucial concept in developing this mindset, because so many of us just think, well, I'll be able to create miracles, and what I'll do is I'll wish for them, and I'll just fantasize about it, or I'll just visualize them, or I'll just get that image in my mind, and then with the image, everything will work out exactly the way I want it to. But intention is taking those images, those visions, those wishes, and energizing them so that you start talking differently to yourself. I intend for this to happen. I will create this. I will make this my reality, is the action of your intentions. And that is what literally has created your intentions. Becoming aware of your intentions leads you to an awareness of your spiritual nature. If you have an intention to work, for example, at a particular position in your life, you've literally transcended your desire and you've put your entire invisible being into that action. See, I am a writer. I'm a speaker. I produce tapes. Those are some of the things that I do in my life, quote, do. But they all came not just from thoughts, but from my intention to do them. I had to have the thought I would like to produce a set of tapes, but I also had to intend that it would happen. And then when you intend that it will happen, you make the phone call, or the person shows up in your life, or you get up out of bed in the morning and you go show up in the studio and you begin recording. You begin to take the stagnant thought and convert it into something that is real in the physical sense. Now your higher self gets involved in the pursuit of this work. It's not just an empty wish or a goal. It's an inner transference of energy from the inert to the active. This higher self that I'm talking about is declaring, this is going to happen. Underline it in your consciousness. This is going to happen. It's this invisible energy within you that started with the inert status of a desire or even a goal to intention. This is what creates everything in your reality. It always has, even though you may have been unaware of how it's been working. What your reality is nothing more than a reflection of the intentions that you have created for yourself. Now, your intention can be synchronized with what you know to be your purpose, or it may be otherwise aligned. If you know your purpose is about giving and loving and serving, as I've talked about, whether it's in the field of education or parenting or law or driving a cab, your intention will follow. Your intention will follow your purpose. Very often you probably find yourself surrounded by other people with similar values that you have. Your values and your higher spiritual self reflect your intentions. You may view the world as a giving place. If you do, you're probably optimistic about people's abilities to become less militant. You probably see the goodness in other people. And you very likely see a lot of people who want to be giving back to you. You experience gratitude and you're teaching others to be loving. So that if you have an intention or a belief that the world is a good place, that the world is a giving place, that the world is a terrific place, that this is a wonderful place to be in, that intention will in fact create those experiences in your life. And rather than going home and reporting on all of the pessimistic things that you have observed in your life, you will find yourself reflecting on that which is optimistic. You will find that the people around you, generally speaking, in your circle of friends and in the acquaintances that you meet in your life, and even the people that you work with, and even the people you're in close relationships with, you'll find that they very often reflect a very similar kind of approach to the world. Your intention, your belief that the world is a giving, loving place that intention